Hi and welcome to my presentation on QuickSmart and GRIN, which is getting ready in Numeracy. I'll begin the presentation with a quick overview of both GRIN and QuickSmart. I'll discuss QuickSmart as a program, discuss GRIN as a program, compare the two programs, and then give a quick overview of the references that I've used for this presentation. QuickSmart was developed at the University of New England. Its buzzword is automaticity, which means that students will be learning facts, number facts, math facts for speed. It uses a repetition model that increases fact recall. It's aimed at middle to upper primary students, sometimes lower secondary. Mostly they have to show low achievement on standardised tests such as PAT-M. GRIN was developed at Monash University. It targets a wide range of mathematics concepts and skills, and it uses specialised tutors or numeracy specialists to enhance students' mathematical understanding. It's for primary and secondary students who are struggling and that teachers can see are beginning to fall behind with the normal mathematics program. I chose both QuickSmart and GRIN because they're both Tier 2 intervention programs. Tier 2 intervention programs mean that they pick up students that are at some risk. So they already have some skills in mathematics and numeracy, maybe a little bit behind, but haven't fallen through the cracks or don't require one-on-one sessions just yet. This diagram is actually from the Hanover group in the United States, and it clearly depicts the three levels of intervention. QuickSmart is one of the most wide-ranging intervention programs that's offered in Australia. Many schools already have this program implemented. It's aimed at students who are achieving below the mid-range of acceptable, but not so low that they need one-on-one intervention just yet. It focuses on speed and accuracy, and it achieves this by making number facts automatic to the students that are part of the program. It's thought then that this frees up working memory so that students can solve more complex mathematical problems. There are myriad areas in the Australian curriculum that QuickSmart fits into: multiplication facts, addition facts, the relationship between addition and subtraction. It also fits into the proficiency strands of fluency and understanding. I'm going to comment on the way that QuickSmart is implemented in South Australia so far, since that's the education department that I'm working in right now. A Stay 9 score of between 4 and 6 is generally where we place kids into QuickSmart because it means they're not so low that they've got serious deficits. Some schools accept Stay 9 3 as well. Usually the student will have anecdotal notes that proves that they struggle with times tables and fact recalls in class. They must have good attendance since this program is requiring that they attend these sessions 3 times a week. Students have to work well in a small group situation or they are not recommended for this program. Students can't be at the very bottom of achievement, otherwise QuickSmart really is not for them. QuickSmart brings with it a few complexities for implementation, even though it is widely used. Each school can only train 5 people at maximum, and there's proprietary software that has to be used. This is called the CAAS system, or Cognitive Aptitude Assessment System, which is required before beginning the intervention. Children have to be withdrawn from class to participate, and this often leaves them lost in maths lessons. The school needs a quiet space available to set up the program and for students to attend their sessions, which are 3 times a week. The school has to set aside at least one computer to run this software. One of the problems with QuickSmart is it's a very long program. The program goes for 30 weeks, which is almost an entire school year. This cost graphic is actually taken from the QuickSmart website. As you can see, this is an incredibly expensive program. Schools with 100 or more students pay upwards of $10,500 for the program, while schools with less than 100 students pay $7,500. This creates huge issues in affordability. We currently run QuickSmart at my current site. The Numeracy coordinator selects students to enter the program after teachers have done data analysis and really looked at their PAD-M scores, and also the Numeracy coordinator interviews teachers to find out if the students are suitable for the program. We have a dedicated QuickSmart Numeracy room which is set up with the computer program and all of the consumables that come along with the program. My site has about 400 students, so given that the cost of the program is about $10,500 every 3 years, that is still relatively high, especially given that we're in an incredibly economically depressed area in regional South Australia. We've chosen QuickSmart because it's the most commonly used intervention program in South Australia, and there's myriad research to prove its success. Lorraine Graham is a huge advocate for QuickSmart and has created many reports on the efficacy of QuickSmart. Our students at my current site show low achievement in fact recall consistently. So QuickSmart really does suit our site deficits and actually aligns well with our site improvement focus. My last 2 sites that I've been at as a teacher have used QuickSmart also, and I've seen some issues with its implementation, and I'd like to discuss these briefly. QuickSmart is a long program. It really does take 30 weeks for students to gain any benefit from it. Now, this is almost a whole school year, and keeping in mind that students are withdrawn from maths lessons and other subject areas, this is actually hurting students who are already at risk. The program's often not run according to the guidelines. It's primarily run by SSOs, school service officers in South Australia, and it's really very rarely monitored closely enough. Students remain in the program indefinitely with no graduation from the program, and there seems to be no checks or balances on what they're actually achieving. So for me, this shows that QuickSmart is a gross waste of money on many sites. This compounds students' lack of achievement. Staff who aren't trained in QuickSmart have very little knowledge of the program and its goals, and so they don't question the amount of time that students are spending in it. All they know is that students are withdrawn from class and that a student who is already achieving at the low end is missing out on critical teaching time. Personally, I feel that South Australia is targeting the wrong students with its QuickSmart selection criteria. We are intervening in students that do have math skills that can get them by in a maths class, and we are making them underachievers by removing them from class time. The GRIN intervention program, Getting Ready in Numeracy, aims to prepare students for the lesson they're about to have in maths. They're exposed to some of the vocabulary, notation and key ideas that the teacher has planned for them that day. Then some of the learning required is modelled for them. GRIN sessions are short and focused. They're less than 30 minutes, but usually more than 20. GRIN is centred around removing the anxiety from mathematics learning by activating students' prior knowledge, allowing them processing time before the lesson, and by learning in small groups or individually prior to the actual mathematics lesson planned. Since students are working on the lessons that are planned by their classroom teachers, all GRIN sessions are strongly linked to the Australian curriculum in some form. GRIN also addresses dispositions and attitudes towards learning, which sits firmly under the proficiency strands of fluency and understanding. GRIN also works towards fulfilling some of the numeracy general capability of the Australian curriculum. Students are put into the GRIN program primarily based on teacher data. The students will be having minor difficulties in mathematics classes, but they are too far behind for their teachers alone to catch them back up. Anecdotal evidence is crucial from the classroom or mathematics teacher to place students into the GRIN program. The point of the program is to create a situation where students who generally struggle in a mathematics lesson are a step ahead rather than that step behind all the time. GRIN comes with its own complexities for implementation. There must be multiple sessions a week that coincide with mathematics lessons that cover new content in the classroom by the teacher. The students are selected by teacher data and suggestion. This means that teachers have to keep very accurate anecdotal notes. It has been suggested that this program be run in lunch and recess times rather than remove students from class times. Now that sounds like a good idea until you start suggesting to kids that they miss out on lunch and recess for maths. Extensive training has to be undertaken by GRIN tutors. They can't be school service officers or aides. They have to be teachers or numeracy specialists in order to run this program. The school must have a space available for GRIN sessions. There may be many occurring simultaneously, so this may create scheduling issues. Until I began this project, I'd actually never heard of GRIN, and thinking about implementing it at my site is making me more likely to approach my numeracy coordinator with this. We do have space available to dedicate a room to GRIN programs in each unit. My site's divided into 3 units that separate some grade levels. Numeracy improvement is our #1 site improvement goal, and GRIN aligns very closely with this. Student engagement is also a priority at my site, and GRIN is aimed at improving student engagement, along with their view of mathematics lessons and numeracy as a whole. Sullivan's research says that by preparing kids for maths content they'll encounter in their classroom, it's thought that they will engage with it because their confidence is increased. We have a numeracy coordinator and myself who are specialists in numeracy. This means that we are already well placed to begin a GRIN program as we have specialist staff to run it. GRIN is far less costly than QuickSmart, which we currently run. Given that our site is in an economically depressed area, cost is a major consideration factor for us. Here's the cost breakdown from the actual GRIN website. For new schools, for training up to 4 participants is about $3,200. If you want to train additional staff members, it's another $550 per person. As you can see, this is by far cheaper than the $10,500 that QuickSmart will set a school back. Here's a bit of a graphic I've created on QuickSmart versus GRIN implementation. Down the left side, we have all the implementation areas. The time per session, very even between the two programs. QuickSmart is definitely 30 minutes. GRIN is generally suggested that the sessions are somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. The cost, this is a major factor in implementing these programs. QuickSmart for schools with over 100 students, $11,500. For schools with less than 100 students, $7,700 up front, while GRIN at the most for 4 people being trained is $3,100. That's a big difference. The way that students are selected is a little bit different too. For QuickSmart, primarily standardised testing achievement is used, and it's mostly ACES test PAT-M. The GRIN program mostly utilises teachers' anecdotal notes and classroom-generated data. Some schools do use PAT-M scoring also. The space required is exactly the same for both programs. They do need a separate room. Although if GRIN was going to be run at recess and lunch, which is as suggested on their website, classrooms may do for that. The session style, students are always withdrawn for QuickSmart, while GRIN gives you that flexibility to not always withdraw students and quite possibly run it during a break time. The site requirements. For QuickSmart, you must have at least 1 computer to run the CAAS software. You must also buy all of the QuickSmart materials and consumables. GRIN requires absolutely no materials except those that the classroom teacher was going to use anyway. The aim of QuickSmart is automaticity of number facts. GRIN focuses on student confidence and pre-exposure to lesson concepts so that we can increase student engagement in the regular mathematical content already being taught in the classroom. The first two references in this list are of the actual websites for both QuickSmart and GRIN. They're great websites to visit if you want to have a look at the programs as advertised by their creators. The rest of the references on this list is the research I've used to prepare this presentation. Thanks so much for listening.